to Nerdgasm. Yes, I actually had to earn my paycheck here and actually host a match. Brooklyn's tired of doing it, and he says I need to do it. But I'm not here alone. I'm here with my co-commissioner, my good friend, my wife, Brooklyn Vale. How are you doing tonight? And how do you think this match? We got Ryan Nazario. We got a second-round match. Nazario was Buddy What's-His-Name going through, and Ryan got in trouble for kicking the crap out of Nico, so pretty much he had the easy match going into it. But what do you think this match will hold?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a while since we actually recorded a match, so it's I almost have to like get the wheels turning again. But this should be a really good one. I mean, Ryan's obviously the master of cliches. He has those buzzwords. He can be persuasive, but I think it's really going to come down to Ryan's debate style versus I think Nazario's knowledge, and I think that's where the balancing act is of like who can outshine the other. So it's for me, it's a pick 'em.
Yes, Nazario is very famous as like calling you out on your bullshit, and and you're right. Ryan is all about the quotes. And the man that we took over for and did a way better job. No, I'm just kidding. Caleb Coho.
You're correct.
You're
did
here.
a way better
You're pretty
job.
much our third judge. You are always here to help us out. I know you started this because you thought this was a great premise. Caleb, how do you feel like tonight's going to go?
This will be really exciting. As someone who's been in the ring with both of them before in different facets, Nazario is very, very, very persuasive when it comes to debate. And Ryan is very good at coming up with the buzzwords to trigger the judges into a correct response. So it comes down to the styles tonight. Ryan and Nazario is going to be a great fight. I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's go to the competitors. Let's see how they're doing tonight. I will go with Ryan. Ryan, you were the favorite by our wheels and everything else. How do you feel about how your first round went, and how do you feel about going up against Nazario?
I feel that in the first match that I had with Nico, I felt I improved to a certain degree. I prepared my arguments a little bit more, and in this match, I prepared even more so. So I'm hoping that preparedness will pay off for tonight against Nazario. I know Nazario is a good competitor. He's really, really good. And anything can happen. Anything's possible, but I'm hoping to walk away with a victory. I think I've put together some good arguments, so we'll see how it goes.
Fantastic. And Nazario, you have went around a few times in debate. You've even judged my title match. How do you feel like your first debate went? And how do you feel about facing Ryan here tonight?
I think it went okay. Obviously, it could have been better. I think we went to the last question. Ryan, actually, I watched his Nico match, and that he actually knows some stuff. He actually is a good competitor, or at least a solid competitor. I have made the mistake of underestimating people before, so I'm trying not to do that this time. Just gonna take it 1 point at a time, and let's see if I can get to the semifinals.
All right, sounds perfect. All right, so this is how Nerdgasm. They got categories. They drafted amongst themselves, and they got questions dictated by Brooklyn and myself. They will have 1 minute opening, 5 minute free form, and then 1 minute to close it all out. There will be a ruling. That's why we have 3 judges here tonight. First 1, 2, 3 wins. And they even picked up a speed round, but they do not know what the questions will be. They just know where it is. So the first question that we have, most entertaining DC movie. Before we start, take the word as the key point of most entertaining and sell us on that. Ryan, you are the favorite in this match, so you will open and you will also close this question out. So tell us what you picked.
All right, for this question, for most entertaining DC movie, I picked something that has a long, long legacy. I picked something that is very entertaining in certainly more ways than one. It has got a legion of fans around the world. It is celebrating its 30th anniversary later on this year, and that would be Tim Burton's first installment in his respective Batman franchise, and that is Batman from 1989. it is certainly the most entertaining DC movie for a number of reasons, but I will present those as we get into the main arguments.
All right, perfect. Batman 89, Nazario, tell us what you picked to counteract that.
I agree that of the DC pantheon, Batman is probably the most malleable character, the most entertaining character that you can do several things with him. But I don't think 89 is the most entertaining version of it. I think it's 2017's Lego Batman movie, because that movie kind of hits on every spot. It has something for everyone, and it shows, it takes the roots of the Batman character and makes it shine in ways that some people may not expect. So yeah, that's my pick.
All right. One movie I like, one movie I despise, but that's why I'm an unbiased judge and I can make a ruling based on your debate. So, 5 minutes whenever you guys start speaking.
When it comes to entertainment, something that is memorable, something that people love and admire, and they are entertained by it every single time they put it on, whether it's in the beginning of the movie, the middle of the movie, the end of it, it doesn't matter. Tim Burton's first Batman film was the first DC film to really take comic movies in a different direction. It showed that you can be more serious. It showed that you can be dramatic, but also having plenty of levity and entertainment with that. And that's where Jack Nicholson's Joker comes in. That's where Michael Keaton's Batman comes in. Batmania was huge when the film came out. First film to earn $100 million in just 11 days. It's the highest grossing DC film up to that point. And it was the highest grossing film in the United States in 1989, which is absolutely insane. It has an A on Cinema Score. It actually won the Oscar award for Best Art Direction. That is just a handful of reasons why this film is the most entertaining DC movie, because of the great cast and the great work that Tim Burton put
I think
into
you're
this movie.
seeing this mostly through the nostalgic eyes because you remember liking this picture when you were young. But if you were fair about it, Batman 89, it's a weird movie. It's very slow paced for today's audiences. It doesn't age well at all. It has a lot of little weird quirks that Tim Burton screw here and there, including things like picking Prince to do complete music for it, that just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. If you get somebody from this age and you make it watch that movie, I'm not sure they would find it entertaining. Lego Batman, on the other hand, it's a complete package of a movie. It has something for everyone. It's colorful, it's fast, it's animated. For little kids, they take the experience and they enjoy it in the moment. It has some great jokes. It hits them a mile a minute. Most of them stick, and that's good for adults who have to take the little kids. And for the geek people like us that we know all the reference and the stuff, this movie is chock full of them. It has reference to things from the comics. It has reference to every single movie. It has reference to things that were so obscure that most people wouldn't even catch them, and it works on that level too. So it's kind of a 4-quadrant thing. It entertains everybody. I don't think that you can say that about Tim Burton's Batman.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you go at conventions, do you see anyone cosplaying Lego Batman as much as they like to cosplay the original Tim Burton's Batman from 1989? And also, the Batmobile in Tim Burton's film alone has been said by numerous fans and even critics around the world that is their favorite Batmobile. And also, that movie, I mean, Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton, their scenes together, I mean, if that's not entertainment, I don't know what is. That is one of the reasons why it's the most entertaining.
One of the best
film.
designs, yes, but that doesn't make it entertaining. That just makes it a classic. You can say that some people think that Tumblr is the best one, but don't say that movie is the most entertaining. And like I said, it's a very weird structured movie. I think it has a fatal flaw about that. The movie never feels like the movie the director wanted to make. I think it's something that it doesn't really match the style of Tim Burton with Batman. Some people think like, well, they both are kind of gothic, but that doesn't mean that they have the same kind of flow. That movie feels weird. He has some choices that makes no sense in the story. How when Vicky Vales just enters into the Batcave because somebody told her he's Batman, or when they try to set something up that doesn't really work. Even the universe itself feels small. He even changed Joe Chill from the guy who killed Bruce's parents and made it the Joker. So it even feels even smaller then. And in Lego Batman's case, they don't only set up a universe, they follow the universe from the original Lego movie, and they connect with the Ninjago movie because they have people from everybody.
Yeah, but all right, yeah, but let's be real here. Do any of the lines that are said in your film, the Lego Batman movie, respectively, are they on anyone's favorite quotes list? Are they on the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies list? No. Have You Ever Danced with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight is on the AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies best movie quotes of all time. Batman, Tim Burton's 1989 film. It's definitely one of the most quotable because I don't hear people on the street quoting Lego Batman nearly as much as they quote
1
Tim
minute
Burton's
left.
Batman movie.
The point that they
Nowhere
quoted
near
at
as
all.
much. It's
The
entertaining.
point
It's
that they
fun.
quoted at all, Ryan, it's important because that movie is 2 years old. You're talking about a 30-year-old movie that was the first real appearance of Batman in cinema. Of course, it's going to have memorable things. And I'm not saying it's not a classic. I'm not saying it's not a historically important movie. I'm just saying it's not really entertaining. It has been
Entertaining.
done better. It has been done in a million other times, and you cannot tell me that the same group of you, if you grab a random group of people, like 10 people, kids, women, men, and you put them in a room and make them watch both movies, that they're gonna prefer Tim Burton's Batman. That is not made for everybody, so it's not a hard-reaching, entertaining movie.
Ratings don't matter. Ratings don't matter. This is about strictly what is specifically the most entertaining DC movie. It doesn't matter what the rating is. It never did. That is why Tim Burton's movie, it's entertaining, it's fun. You can watch it at any point in time, beginning, middle, and end.
All right. 1 minute. Again, going into the future rounds. Nazario, be careful of filibustering. You did gain a lot of time on there. I understand that he didn't really try to interject, but get it back and forth. It would work perfectly. All right, 1 minute. Nazario, you're going to lead us off. And whenever you start speaking.
Lego Batman is funny for kids. It has songs. It's memorable. It has lines that people are beginning to quote. The fact that it's just 2 years old means that it registered on people. It's easier to get for a lot of people to be entertained. Even geeky people who get references like Billy D. Williams doing the voice of Two-Face, which connects actually to the Tim Burton 89 movie. It has a great voice cast: Will Arnett, Michael Cera, Zach Galifianakis, all great actors in a movie that is widely accepted to be entertaining for all ages. Tim Burton movie, it may be a classic, it may be important, it may have one line in the AFI's greatest quotes of all time, but the action doesn't hold up. It's not a great film. It's just slow pace. It's weird, slow, and it's dated, and it does not really entertain in the general sense.
Time. Or end it early, whichever one you want to call it. All right. Ryan, you will close out this question. 1 minute whenever you start speaking.
Tim Burton's Batman of 1989, it did so many things for DC. It also paved the way for Batman the Animated Series. Without this movie, we wouldn't have gotten the Batman the Animated Series, one of the greatest animated series of all time. This is the most entertaining DC movie for a number of reasons. 1, the chemistry between Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. 2, you have the Batmobile. 3, you have some good action sequences. 4, the score by Danny Elfman. Some of the songs in there by Prince. All those elements work together to make it an entertaining film. It's not just because of the Joker's one-liners. It's not because of another character's one-liners. It's because of all the elements of the film that work together as a whole to make it the most entertaining DC movie. And that is why the answer to this is Tim Burton's Batman of 1989.
All right. Okay, so yeah, that was a battle. I'll go first. I didn't believe the question was super answered. I think it was a struggle in trying to find their footing. I think Ryan did a lot of what it did for DC, and I think that's great. But I think Nazario told me why his was more entertaining. I think Ryan, not saying you were not on the question, it was just like you more talked about what it did for DC, and it was still fun. It was still quotable. There's a lot of quotes, but I think there's more to a movie than that. So I'd have to give Nazario the point on the first question. But again, there's 3 judges. That's why we don't all make the ruling. I'll go to Brooklyn next. Brooklyn, who do you got?
Pretty comfortably, I give it to Nazario. I think I agree with you in the way that Ryan he didn't really grasp the entirety of the question. He brought up some stats that I wasn't really sure if they weren't solid attacks, and I think Nazario did a great job of balancing his argument of he would he would attack Ryan's movie and then bring in how Lego Batman did it better. And I just didn't hear that quite from Ryan.
Okay. All right. So Nazario will take point number one. Caleb, you didn't get a chance to vote. Who would you went with and why?
Completely agree. Nazario took a lot of basically sold me on why his movie was entertaining in the 4-quadrant thing really worked with me. Specifically, he said that his attack on 89 was slow, weird, and it doesn't hold up to entertainment in the classic sense. That's what sealed it for me. But Ryan also said that ratings don't matter, but his whole opening was about ratings and what it won and Metacritic scores. So that hurt him in my eyes. But yeah, I would have gone with Nazario pretty comfortably too.
Okay, so Nazario takes the first point. And I hate Lego Batman movie, so that's that's a very.
And I love Tim Burton's Batman movie, so that
That's
kind of
true.
hurt me a little bit.
That's true. This is probably not the right two to lose one of these questions. I don't think they're both happy. But hey, guess what? This is 2-3, so there's plenty of time left. Your next question, another one that I don't know what anyone is talking about at all because I don't watch this shit. But I think people like it, so that's what I want to see. So this is the best episode of The Punisher. Again, do not tell me like the seasons or what or where it breaks down. Tell me why this is the best episode of Punisher. Okay? Nazario, you're going to start off and you'll close this question. So 1 minute whenever you start speaking.
When you see the show like The Punisher, you feel like the character is pretty one note, and you don't think you have that so many places to reach with it. Is this guy with a single-minded vision of revenge who wants to kill the bad guys because of his family's death? And this show, in general, kind of debunks that because it explores Frank Castle in a way that it has never been done before outside of comic books. And I think the perfect example for this is the 12th episode of the first season called Home, where you see the Punisher in a situation where it's not his muscles, it's not his physical attributes that this dictates what it happens. It's like a mental deconstruction of the character. It goes really deep, it goes really strong, and I think it's definitely the best of the whole series.
Okay, episode 12. Ryan, 1 minute whenever you start speaking.
With any TV series, you need to establish a tone. You need to establish why you should be watching this series. And the one that does this the best for the Punisher's sake is the very first episode of the first season. It's called 3 a.m. There are a couple of different reasons why it does this so well over the course of this for the rest of the series, but I'll get into more of that in the main argument.
All right, perfect. Okay, 5 minutes. Ending early, or way early. That's late night. It would take 3 super approach, more like the Malcolm approach.
That might be an opening round record.
Yeah,
of like shortest. Yeah.
But hey, let's see how bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off. 5 minutes. Whenever you start talking.
It's weird that you picked the pilot. Historically, pilot episodes are kind of the weakest ones of shows because they don't really know the graph. They don't have the characters. They don't really have the personalities of where they're going to develop them in later years. And I don't think The Punisher escapes this trope because if you see the pilot for itself, it really doesn't work. It doesn't fit into the rest of the series. It starts closing the story from another show that is Daredevil Season 2 for the first 5 minutes, and then it goes on a story that has nothing to do with anything for 40 minutes, and then it tries to set something up in the final scene. It's completely an island of the rest of the show, and it doesn't really work. Mine actually explores what it is to be the Punisher and the weight that has on people.
Well, with every story, there needs to be a beginning, right? So in the first episode, for those who may not be familiar with what happened in, the other series that he's mentioned in, this one clears that up. It establishes his own series with how the events of up to that point have affected Frank Castle after he has had taken out his vengeance on the people who took out his family. He just tries to, work a job, keep his head down, not really cause too much trouble. But his past starts coming back to haunt him when, Homeland Security gets involved, pulls him into this completely, new situation for him that he doesn't want any part of. He's just trying to like, look, I've done my job. I got my vengeance. My family has been avenged. I don't really want to be involved in this new game that Homeland Security is trying to put me in. And also the pilot.
I think I have to check you on that, Ryan. It's not Homeland Security who pulls him in. It's another ghost that finds him, that realizes he's not dead, and then they go against Homeland Security. Actually, this happens in the last scene of your episode, and the other 40 minutes is just him hitting a wall with a hammer. We get introduced to a bunch of characters that either disappear or don't matter to the story. A bunch of guys who work with him and regret him because he works too hard, and it makes them look bad at this kid that they set up that you think is going to be important later, and then just never shows up in the show again. I think my episode really encapsulates what it is to be the Punisher. He gets taken, he gets tortured, and he struggles inside with his visions of his family, because what he really always wanted was his family back. And then he's basically between life and death the whole episode, and the thing he gets to choose is, does he want to die or does he want to keep fighting because he has really nothing to live for. It's very deep, it's very emotional, and connects with you. I don't think what you're saying is completely accurate.
Yeah, but without the first episode, 3 a.m., you wouldn't get that. You wouldn't get the one that you're talking about. Without the first one, which establishes which establishes a couple of things that are about to go down and how the past has affected Frank Castle. And you get an idea of his psychology, his mental state, his emotional state, the toll it's taken on him, and where he wants to go, which is just put some of that negativity behind him and just keep his head down and work a steady job. Like there are people out there that can relate to that episode, and there are people out there that can relate to the story. That's why that episode is so powerful, and it does a really good job of establishing Frank Castle, the Punisher, and introducing the audience to this character in his own series that no one saw coming.
Yeah, Ryan, but what you're trying to sell me the pilot on things that don't happen on the pilot. He's the Punisher for 5 minutes in the beginning and for one scene in the end. Everything in the middle is the guy hitting a wall with a hammer with a bunch of characters that don't matter to the story. In my episode, you actually understand that Frank Castle is not that he wants to die. It's more like he doesn't think he has the right to live. And this is shown in all the images that he sees from when he's being tortured about his wife. It's the final memory he has of his family, and he transforms this memory into this decision he has to make. Like, do I keep on living just to get revenge, or do I try to rest with my family? And in the end, revenge is what matters for him. And you get this, you understand this from everything they show you. It's emotional. In the same episode, they set up the first confrontation for real between Billy Russo and Frank Castle. And here he shows that he lets him know how he betrayed him. And the scene is so powerful because John Barenthal just sells you on it. And you understand why this guy is the Punisher. You understand where he's going with it.
However, if you don't get the first episode that introduces you and pulls you into his world and gets you to a certain, every story needs a starting point. So without 3 a.m., you don't get to that. You don't get to it at all. You just get a bunch of scenes that don't make sense without the previous episodes, and including the first one, which is 3 a.m. If you don't know where he came from, you're not going to know where he's going. So that's why 3 a.m. works much better than your episode that you're talking about, respectively.
I think the character is perfectly set up in Daredevil season 2, and I think you can.
Yeah, but not everyone has seen Daredevil season 2.
Yeah, still, man, it's not work. It doesn't happen the way you described in the pilot. You're just factually accurate, not accurate.
Man, okay. Caleb. Oh no, sorry, that was just freeform. That was really back and forth. Sorry. So Ryan, you'll go first. Nazario, you'll close. So Ryan, 1 minute whenever you start speaking.
When it comes to the Punisher, this is a character that not a lot of people are familiar with. They really aren't. Despite the previous iterations of films and the adaptations that have been attempted for this character, this series does a much better job than any of the previous iterations ever did. And in order to do that, you need a starting point. And that is because 3 a.m. is the best episode of The Punisher, because it introduces you to Frank Castle at the end of one quest and the beginning of another. You get to know who John Berthal playing Frank Castle is. You get to see how much his past deeds have taken on him, the toll it's taken on him. You see he's just trying to keep his head down, work a normal job, not trying to get into any trouble. But sure enough, his past comes back to haunt him in a completely different way, and it goes from there. So you need a starting point for any story, and with 3 a.m., that is where you get it with the Punisher.
All right. Nazario, 1 minute or so whenever you start speaking.
After hearing Ryan's pitch of the episode, I'm not completely sure he even watched the episode. He barely understands what is going on. The whole story that he's referring to being set up is set up in episode 2 because episode 1 is mostly filler. It's a story that has nothing to do with anything, doesn't go nowhere, and it just has 1 or 2 scenes with characters who actually matter. My episode deconstructs the mind frame of Frank Castle, and it shows you who he is and why he's the way he is. He is the Punisher, even if he doesn't shoot a single bullet in the whole episode. And when the episode goes to its conclusion, where he gets free and he gets finally his hands on somebody who had an important role in destroying his family, you get one of the most visceral and brutal fight scenes ever put on film, close to Fight Club, close to Game of Thrones. It's and you feel so much satisfaction that he finally gets part of his revenge. This could have worked as a season finale, and it would have been perfect. It's one of the most complete arcs in one episode of one character.
All right. So back to what I was originally saying. Caleb, you did not get to vote last time. Who would you give the vote to, and why?
I think Nazario kind of clean swept this one for me. Ryan had a solid defense at one point, but he just didn't attack too strongly on Nazario's, whereas Nazario just had really, really brutal takedowns of Ryan's episode, so I have to give it to Nazario.
All right, I will go next. That is what sometimes we consider a dick punch, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think you can survive what Nazario was throwing, but the problem is Nazario was throwing that you did not understand your own episode, and I didn't feel like a strong combat of that happened. Again, I'm not saying, I just think Nazario kept hitting and showing. I always think it was a bold choice picking the pilot because that means nothing's gotten better since then, but I'm saying you could have sold me, and I think you started really strong, but once he started throwing haymakers, you kind of went on the backtrack, and there was the slight pause, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was just like he threw so much, and you just didn't know where to go, and it was a little rough. But yeah, so Nazario's going to take the second point here. Brooklyn, how would you have voted, and why?
Nazario was in the driver's seat pretty confidently. He even sort of called it out in the end there with how he doesn't think Ryan actually saw the series. Although Ryan did bring up some good points of the pilot as somebody who has actually watched the series. Ryan's argument, if I could really critique it, got really redundant in the final minutes of Freeform. Just kind of recycling old points, which doesn't bode well with myself.
Yes, everybody judges differently, and we all voted the same there. So good job, all. Again, but I have seen people come back. Caleb himself was down in this exact situation going into and pushed it to the last question. So again, anything is possible. Do not give up hope. Battle it out. All right. 2 people on this panel absolutely love this idea. I'm not the biggest fan, but we're doing it. Here's a pitch question, everybody. Pitch for all. Pitch the next Disney live-action movie, and I think we specified that it wasn't already like super announced or something.
Correct. It couldn't already be announced.
Yeah. So again, if one slipped through the crack where we didn't realize it was announced, we're not battling semantics here. Pitch us on the movie and why the other ones wouldn't be good for Disney. Okay. So if say somebody pitched a Mulan one, we let it slip. Fight it, because that I don't want to hear a whole battle of you to pick the movie that wasn't the question. I don't want to hear it. So, Ryan, you'll go first, and then you'll close this question out. Again, it's a pitch question, so kind of sum it up in that opening so you guys can have the freeform talk. So 1 minute whenever you start speaking.
All right, the next live-action Disney movie is quite simple. It has to be Pocahontas. It has to be Pocahontas because it's about time that other cultures, other races get representation on screen. Pocahontas is the perfect chance to do it. Tell the story from way back when people from overseas invaded their land. They couldn't get along together in the beginning. They needed to find some common ground. And because of Pocahontas and John Smith, they did. That is why Pocahontas is the right choice for this one.
All right. Okay. Short, short and sweet. I was expecting a little bit more pitching, but that's fine. If you want to do it in the free form, that's your thing. Nazario, 1 minute whenever you start speaking.
I think Disney is going at this kind of hitting all the things they can hit and trying to remake everything they can remake. But I think sometimes when you try that approach, some things are not worth it. Some things are perfect as they are, and they don't really need a remake. The best ones are the ones that actually had a good heart, a good idea, and then they could have improved a little better. And I think this worked very well for the Jungle Book, and I think it would work the same for the Fox and the Hound, because The Fox and the Hound is a little story from the early 80s that it didn't do as much business as it wanted to. It got received okay, but it didn't do great with the critics either. But it has heart. It has a strong message, and it has it's forming in kind of a fable thing that it works really well for animated pictures. And I think doing it with a remake treatment, we're using the same style that they're using for the Lion King and they use for Jungle Book with some of human actors, it would be a very large improvement because the movie has soul, but it needs to just reach a little more to reach a better standing.
All right. Time. 5 minute free form. Pitch why we need a Pocahontas live action or a Fox and the Hound more than the other one. Or 5 minutes whenever we start speaking.
I'll tell you why Pocahontas is the right choice here. Because The Fox and the Hound, let's face it, we've seen that movie billions and billions, hundreds of dozens and dozens and dozens of times. We don't need to see it again. We really don't. We don't need it. We got plenty of those on the back burner. It doesn't matter. Pocahontas needs to happen now because these cultures need to be respected. They need to be represented on screen, and this is the perfect time to do it with everything that's been going on in the world lately, with everything that's been going on in the news. This is the time to do a worldwide casting search for Pocahontas and other characters, especially Native American actors who haven't had the chance to play characters on screen yet, haven't gotten their big break yet. Disney, them putting Pocahontas on the big screen is the perfect way to do it. It's the best way to do it. You can get the classic songs in there. Heck, you can get Alan Menken to make those songs along with his team like he previously did for other Disney animated films or even live action films at this point. You can do it. That is why Pocahontas is something that is going to bring people to the theater. It's going to sell a heck of a lot more tickets than another dog and his best friend story.
I think your mind is in the right place, but not really, because you're picking Pocahontas, which is a movie that is troubled to begin with. This is a movie that simplifies one of the greatest combat stories and tragedies of our time, because I mean it basically makes a simplified version of what it is, an invasion basically of Europeans into the Native American land, and it does it in a way that is not really respectful. It has an age up Pocahontas, so it's not even historically accurate. Glorifies John Smith, who is famously not a good guy at all. It introduces magic elements like the grandma tree that kind of are disrespectful to the Native American culture, and I don't know how you would pitch that movie in 2019. It really wouldn't work. The Fox and the Hound is a little fable that really would work because you just need to push it a little further from where it is. You can cast it with great people. You can bring back Kurt Russell, who did the voice of Copper in the first one, and make him be Amos Slade, the owner of the dogs, and you can put Meryl Streep as the owner of the fox, and you have a sold movie. And I think it would work great with the effects that we have available today.
But we've already seen that done with those kind of CGI special effects and other movies from other studios that have already done it. It may not be The Fox and the Hound, but they've done certain versions of animal stories and a dog and their best friend and all that stuff. I mean, heck,
Well,
Bumblebee's
just
another
we
example.
have seen live action versions of Pocahontas who actually try to make a respectful version of the story. The latest one being The New World with Terrence Malick in 2005, and that was even received mixedly. It has 62% on Rotten Tomatoes and didn't do any money. They tried Pocahontas the Legend in 95 and Captain Smith and Pocahontas in the 50s, and none of them has worked. None of them break 7 on a rating scale. The story has been done as an adult version, as a historically accurate version, and it doesn't work. And now you're trying to sell me in 2019 of doing the simplified magic animal version of it with people for real, and you think that putting Native Americans in the movie is going to balance that out? It's still going to be pretty insulting, dude.
No, it's not. The Terrence Malick, all the other other iterations, yeah, they haven't been received well. They're not good. But here's the chance to make it right. Here's the chance to start over, start fresh. And no, in this version of Pocahontas with Disney doing it, it's not going to be a simplified story. There are people out there that can work with Disney, bring in more
What is a
historically
remake,
accurate.
dude? You have to stick to the original story.
Not exact.
And you're even saying using the same songs. Are you gonna put people singing "Savages," "Hardly Even Human" in a real live action movie? This day and age, man. I mean, it's insulting, really. You're gonna talk about the magic and the colors of the wind. Is she gonna go talk to a tree for advice? It's not potable, man. It doesn't float.
Colors of the Wind will work. The other songs they can easily take out and put in new stuff, or just not have them in there at all and just have only one or two songs and make it a drama. They can do it that way. It doesn't have to be a straight up scene for scene, word for word remake. It doesn't have to be that way.
But every other movie has done exactly that, and we're saying that that is what is between in the soul of the thing. What Disney is doing is remaking the movies basically.
One
Exactly
minute
that.
left.
All right, let Ryan have a little spiel. Go.
I mean, look, even Disney has added new elements to their live action remakes. Jungle Book put in some new stuff. They turned the story around just a little bit, even if they stuck to a little bit of like a core of what the original was. Pocahontas, you can do that. You can add in new stuff. You don't have to do it scene for scene, word for word. I mean, look at what they did with Aladdin. They cast actual actors of that specific heritage for that specific movie. They can do the exact same thing here with Pocahontas. You don't have to worry about singing the song Savages or any of the other stuff that may not have worked in the original. They can do it much better now in 2019 with this new version and cast actually Native American actors to play actual Native American characters and European actors to play European characters. That is the way this can work. It can truly work and have these cultures respectfully represented on screen. That's why Pocahontas can do it, whereas in The Fox and the Hound, we've seen it a billion times. It's time for a new take on the Pocahontas story and make it a little bit more historically accurate than the previous iteration of it did. That is why Pocahontas works a heck of a lot more so than Fox and the Hound.
Okay. I didn't mean you could have the full last minute, but it ended up being that way. That's not a big deal. Nazario, you're going to start it, and then Ryan, you'll close. So 1 minute whenever you start speaking, Nazario.
The Fox and the Hound is a lovely little fable about friendship and reward consequences. It teaches you a lesson that kids should learn, that is society dictates behavior. And people are not born enemies, they're not born bad. They find a way to make a fox and a dog, a hunting dog, work. I think with a little push and the CGI, you can make a very deep forest. I think if you cast it right, you can make it very entertaining, and you can expand the movie in ways that maybe were not available in the 80s. I think Pocahontas is a failed pitch from the beginning, because we're talking about remaking this version of the story, the Disney version, and the Disney version is flawed at its core because it does not take the story of Pocahontas with the historical value of it has. If it's a movie like the other live version have been, that have not even worked that way. This version of Disney is just, I think the story deserves a better film, not a remake just to sell new toys.
Okay. Ryan, 1 minute whenever you start speaking. Again, you have to win this point to push it to speed round. So 1 minute whenever you start.
The story in The Fox and the Hound, we've been there and done that. That's done. It's finished. We don't need it, period. Pocahontas, we need it. Why? Because of everything that's going on in the world right now. We need to find a movie to unite us and also respectfully be historically accurate. Disney can do this with a new version. You get the right composer, you get the right producer, you get the right director. You also do a casting search. You get Native American actors to play Native American characters, Europeans to play European characters. You can do it, and you can do it right. It is time to unite this thing. It's time to unite races, have cultures respected, represented on screen, respect each other, and not just watch a dog and his best friend mosey on around the prairie on screen that we have seen billions and billions of times. Pocahontas is here. The time is now. You can do it right with the right team. That is why Pocahontas is the right choice for this, whereas The Fox and the Hound, no need for it. No thanks. Pocahontas is the right place, right time, and Disney can do it. They have the resources, they have the opportunity, and this is the golden opportunity to do it.
Time. All right, running for president in 2020, it's Ryan and Pocahontas. It's what they need now. No, I love it. Love it. Brooklyn, you're actually going to go first on this one. So tell us who got your point and why.
All right. So, as the unofficial mother of multiplex, I am going to say that I am not mad. I am disappointed in the both of you. I don't think this was a great pitch question. It was more what deserves to be remade more. But that being said, Ryan gave me more pitch ideas. He gave me he gave me a better visual of what this movie could be. Even giving me like a potential of composers. You have the option of going full on remake, or you could pull back some of the songs. That's what got me. But I could easily be in a minority here.
All right, I will go next. You're not in the minority. You're in the thing. So I have lost debate questions for what exactly Nazario has done before. And that is put on the driver seat and just punch and not give me anything for my movie. And that's what ended up happening. He failed at the end because he said at the end, he gave me more about Fox and the Hound, but I wanted more. So I wish future going into pitch rounds in the beginning of that minute, use me to sell what you were pitching and then battle. Don't try to pitch middle because you get back and forth. Again, Nazario hit. I don't believe Pocahontas would do really well in this day and age, but you pretty much said, well, there's a talking tree. And then Ryan's like, take out the talking tree. You still got the story. And he just kept going, but I never got anything for Fox and a Half. So Ryan gets this point. He wins this one. So it's 2-1 going into the speed round. Caleb, as somebody that's had to... No, you didn't battle anything for Pocahontas, but it could have been a choice in one of your guys' choices. Who do you think would have... how do you think this fight went?
I actually think Nazario did a lot better of pitching his remake than you guys are giving him credit for. Like, when he threw out the Kurt Russell and Meryl Streep casting, I kind of thought that was that was a nice twit, like little extra bit. And I think he did a good job of tearing down why Ryan's doesn't work inherently. Even though Ryan was like, okay, take out the talking tree, Nazario would be like, well, the talking tree's not your only problem. The entire core of the film is the problem. So I would have gone with Nazario, but yeah. That's why we have 3.
Yes, fantastic pitching that you gave us voice actors. Thank you so much for that pitch. And pretty much use the people that were in it. So that was the whole problem that we had to pitch. But no, so we're going to speed round. So you'll start 45. Again, when we hear you first, you'll go first. 45-second open, 30-second close. Again, Ryan, win or this match is over, basically. Not to put stress onto you, but you need to know. Okay, so your first speed round question, you guys, was animated heroes, I believe. Either way, we're going with it because that's what we wrote, and you have no choice. So get ready to fight it. So when I hear you, you will go. Best Teen Titans character.
Robin.
Yeah, Cyborg then.
Okay. We have it.
I'm part of that.
Okay. So, Nazario, you started, so you said Robin. Ryan, you have Cyborg, so 45 seconds when we start speaking Nazario.
I think Robin is the most complex character, the most complete one, because just like Batman, he doesn't have superpowers. He doesn't have that leg up that most superheroes do. And unlike Batman, he doesn't have the resources. He doesn't have all the money. It's just he has to deal with what he has, what Batman basically gives him. So the other ones have the powers, and he still has to be able to lead and show how he earns his spot in the team without having those abilities.
Okay, that was real short. So, Ryan, good luck. 45 seconds when we start speaking.
Dark, brooding, and moody. Oh, we've seen that before. With who? Let me think. Oh, yeah, Batman. Robin's just a copycat of that. With Cyborg, this is somebody who wanted nothing to do with being a hero, just wanted to go to school, play football, be a college star, and move on with his life. No, he was unwittingly turned into Cyborg, so now he is dealing with that trauma of being changed into something against his will and learning how to face his future, an uncertain future, and then he eventually teams up with the Teen Titans and becomes, if not their greatest asset, with his ability to tap into any kind of electronic devices or surveillance systems so that he can help protect the Teen Titans. Without Cyborg, the team as a whole is toast, and that is why Cyborg is the best member of the Teen Titans.
Hell hath no fury like a Ryan Scorn. Okay, Nazario, 30 seconds whenever you start speaking.
Robin is not a clone of Batman in the show. He's not brooding. He's actually a very happy-go-lucky guy. He tries to start a relationship with Starfire and then try to find how to have a personal life while trying to lead and fit in the team. Cyborg, yeah, he unwillingly became Cyborg, but after that, he's not even the most powerful member of the team. If you need magic, you have Raven. If you need powers, you have Starfire. Those are the people who actually you go to when you need the backup of the firepower. Cyborg is just another character that's there. He's not the most useless one because Beast Boy just turns into animals. But Robin has to lead his team with fewer resources, and he does a great job of it.
Okay, awesome. Ryan, 30 seconds whenever you start speaking.
You're a character who can just punch, kick, and hit people with a stick and has some good karate skills. Ooh, big deal. No. Cyborg can actually protect himself. He can tap into any kind of sort of technology to protect not only himself, but the team as a whole. If the team needs to go on a secret mission, they need to get in undetected, who do they think they're going to go to get him in there undetected? They go to Cyborg because of his weaponry, because of his arsenal. He is a great character. He is, in a way, it's almost like he's the savior of the team, whereas Robin's just, all right, guys, let's go this way. No. Cyborg can do a heck of a lot more than Robin can do in an entire week. Cyborg can get work done in 5 minutes, whereas Robin, it could take him a week and a half to get something done. That is why Cyborg works best.
Time.
Okay, I'm going to go first. This could be total bullshit. This could be anything. I don't know what the hell any of you were really talking because I've never watched it. Ryan, congratulations. You sold me on Cyborg. Overall of why would you consider it best, you literally took him down each time, and I don't know if this one actually plays football, wants to play football, but maybe he does, and he's actually best for the team. But the two people that are actually experts on the Teen Titans get to go, so if I screw everything up, sorry, Nazario, you can yell at me later, but you did give Isaac 3 points in the championship match, so screw you. Okay. Just kidding. No, I'm just saying for the fact is I don't know either. I don't know anything about it. I'm just saying overall of a debate style, you sold it pretty well. So I'm going to go to Brooklyn next. Brooklyn, who do you got in line?
Cody, you're correct. Story checks out. Nazario had this up until Ryan's rebuttal, and then Ryan just put his foot on the gas and literally just kicked it into overdrive. That 30 seconds was like listening to Bohemian Rhapsody. It was just glorious. Like he was just like this sort of turned me around on how he's like he's just kind of the everyman. He's the Swiss Army knife of the Teen Titans. And I'm kind of surprised considering backroom stuff. So Ryan gets the point for me.
To quote a famous person I've debated before, it sometimes benefits going second, and it kind of I guess happened on this one. And Nazario is famous for telling me that. Caleb, who would you have went with and why?
It's so heartbreaking to be in Nazario's position because he mentioned Raven, and when Ryan in the rebuttal is like, Cyborg is the guy that gets you undetected, and Raven is literally that function on the team, but Ryan got to go second, so Nazario didn't get to debate that, and so I feel so bad for Nazario, but I would have to go with Ryan just because of like how he was able to take him down in the rebuttal, and that's rough for Nazario.
Wow. So you guys picked. This is non-Netflix Marvel, right? That's the category. Okay. So again, this might be a thinker. Just hear the question. First one to go goes 45 seconds. Other than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., best non-Netflix Marvel show. I don't know what the hell that's just sorry.
Jeez. Is there anything else that they does this have to be this is live action, right?
Live action.
It has to be live action.
Oh, it has to be live action. Okay, all right. That narrows it down to 0 options.
I do have a clarification question after they vote. I'm going to ask you two if something would have worked. Okay.
Non-Netflix Marvel live action television series. Jeez. Anyone got a list in their back pocket over there? Yes. All right. I got one.
Say it.
The Gifted.
Okay.
The
Agent
Gifted.
Carter.
What'd you say?
Agent Carter.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh
The
man.
Gifted versus Agent Carter. Don't know what the hell you're talking about, but this is fun to
Cody's
watch.
like, what is this?
All right, 45 seconds. Ryan, whenever you start speaking. Winner, remember, game point. This is it. Corner wins, moves on. So let's go. This is insanity.
Outside of the other shows, this show, The Gifted, specifically gives X-Men fans what they want. The closest representation to adaptation of the animated series from way back in the 90s, just without the spandex and the fancy costumes. This actually gives you good, heartfelt characters and dramatic storylines with an incredible cast, from Amy Acker to the guy from True Blood. But either way, you got a great cast in there leading it. It's about young mutants coming together as one, figuring out their place in the world. The X-Men are gone. They are left with no leader but themselves. They have to find a way to lead the next generation of mutants into the future without the X-Men's help, including Professor Xavier. And that is why The Gifted is the best series of the bunch.
Time.
Nazario.
Agent Carter is a show that gives you a backstory on one of the most important persons in the MCU. Agent Peggy Carter is one of the founding members of S.H.I.E.L.D., and her character was underused criminally in Captain America: The First Avenger. This show gave her a place to develop. Since they moved the story from the 40s to the present, they couldn't really deal with her in the present, but she has been so important that she has been popping out in scenes on different movies. On all the time, she was very important, and this show expands on her character. His movie is not even the best X-Men TV show. That is just Legion.
Works. Okay. 30 seconds, Ryan, whenever you go.
Your show is about one person in a specific time period. This one is set in the distant future. There are also flashback sequences that show you how these characters got to where they are without the help of the original characters of the X-Men franchise. These are about the next generation of mutants, new characters. One of them is actually the daughter of Magneto with Polaris. It is insane of what they are able to do. They mentioned Hellfire Club, they mentioned Xavier's School, so there are little Easter eggs in there, but there are plenty of great storylines that introduce us to the new characters and shows us where the universe is going in terms of the Gifted X-Men.
Okay, Nazario, whenever you start speaking.
Like I said, Legion goes even deeper. Being the son of the Professor X, it explores how you can deal with those powers in the world and how he can actually try to live with having that burden on him. Agent Carter fills in the gaps on the MCU story. It's an important movie. It brings some characters that are very important. Howard Stark, the first person that was Jarvis, the first mayor, the butler they had, and it actually peppers in little details that are later used in movies to great effect. It actually completes the arc of the MCU.
Time. Caleb, I have been going to you last and making you not talk, which is my favorite thing, but I'll let you decide this first. So tell me who won and why.
Ryan got really hung up on trying to sell what his show is, and then Nazario in the rebuttal did a good takedown of saying there's another show, Legion, that does it better, and then expanding on why Agent Carter is a good show and important to the overall scope of the MCU, which Ryan never really hit back on, so I would go with Nazario.
Okay. Brooklyn, who you got and why?
Yeah, pretty comfortably Nazario once again. I think he was able to balance out his argument in the rebuttal, which is sort of the theme of speed rounds. Is a lot of these arguments are won in the rebuttal, and his argument of you didn't even pick the best X-Men live action show sold me. So
Nazario. And your winner, moving on to face the winner of Timber Kala and Jim Green, Nazario Montenegro. All right. Again, I would have personally went with Ryan because I didn't see a huge takedown against the X-Men. But again, that's why we have 3 judges, and that's what ends up happening. So again, I think this actually proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that Ryan is actually a pretty good debater and has potential and just has to tune some areas, and he can be a dominant force. Nazario proves again that maybe kind of underestimated a little bit, maybe a little bit more prep work, maybe something, and he can be just as good. Again, they're going against two very skilled fighters next, whoever wins. We don't even know that yet, so yeah, so that's going to be a very interesting battle. We'll wrap it up here. We'll go to the winner, Nazario. How do you feel like today went? And who would you rather have, Tim or Jim?
I think it went okay. I expected it to go way better. And yeah, I did get a little upset on the judging on the Teen Titans question because Ryan said so many things that were wrong and nobody called him out on it, but I didn't get a chance to do it myself. Actually, I think he could have made a very solid case for Cyborg, but he didn't. He just threw whatever he had to the wall, and I guess it stuck. But it's a technique, and I respect it. It's actually it made me sweat a little bit closer to the end. So, damn it, I'm gonna start trying to manage my expectations. And about the next match, honestly, I've never seen Tim debate. I've seen Jim, and Jim is another person that I think can go really wild when he's passionate about something, and that's really really difficult to counterbalance because passion sells, even if you're passionately selling shit. So I think I'd rather go with the unknown in this one. I would rather face them, but I'm gonna start studying out both people's matches now. It's that I know that that's the next step. And yeah, this is fun. Even when I'm pissed, it's fun. Of course, it's more fun when you're ahead, but I respect everybody's opinion. So it was a very fair game, guys.
I think you can blame me on it because I have hammered home if it's not said by the other person, you can't use your own facts to call people out on rulings. So that's basically, that would be our opinion coming into it, and it has to be based on the argument. So that's why I think he won that argument. Ryan, oh, by the way, Tim Burkella's match, when you see it, again, that's him at a low level, I think. So he didn't have the strictest, hardest competition in the first round, so we'll see how that breaks down. But Ryan, we'll go to you next. How do you feel like tonight went? I know it didn't go your way, but are you feeling a little bit more confident about debating and getting back in there at some point?
I'm not sure what I'm wrong about when it comes to Cyborg. I mean, I saw him on Smallville. I read New 52 by Jeff Johns. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a more modern day iteration than the Marv Wolfman George Perez run that they did. I don't know what's going on. But either way, I think I did a pretty good job on that. Hello. But other than that, no, this was a good match. I am frustrated that I lost the first question, most entertaining DC movie, because I will defend that movie to my death. That should have won. I am a little upset about how round 3 went down with Pocahontas versus Fox and the Hound, but hey, can't win them all, I suppose. Or no, wait. Oh, I won that? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, geez. See, I can't even keep track of anything these days.
We can retract the point. It could be
no, never mind. It was the first one, not the third. But you know what I mean. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm twisting my own words. All right, yeah, first one I'm upset about. But other than that, this was fine. Nazario, congrats. I guess rubbing your little Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and whatever it is that you're carrying over there must have worked. I don't know. What is that, your rabbit's foot?
This is Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, yeah, the character.
Take back your gift card, dude.
Yeah, he's not a raccoon. He's a sweet rabbit. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, congratulations to Nazario. Good luck in your next matchup. As far as debating goes and what I want to do coming back, I don't really care. Nerdgasm isn't really my thing. I am a movie trivia competitor first and foremost. I will always be a movie trivia competitor no matter what happens down the line. So if you want to put me in another Nerdgasm, fine. It's really not my forte. I don't really prefer it. But hey, if an opportunity arises, I can always do it again. I mean, I try to improve. I try to do my best, but I still can't pull out a W, which is, to me, to a certain extent, it's frustrating. But I understand why, because we have 3 different judges. All opinions are different. I get that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. If I come back, I come back. If not, I'll just stick to movie trivia because that's what I'm good at. That's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about. So, but thanks for having me, though, guys.
This is the most confusing interview I've ever had because you won your first match, so you already got a W. You're in the second round of this tournament. You could have been in the almost finals, but hey, we're not your thing.
It depends on the argument. Depends on the argument I'm making. Depends on the question.
Well, I do have a regular season match for you. It's coming up. I think you will play probably the loser of Tim or Jim in regular season. I think that just makes perfect sense of who
Sure.
you would have faced. So
Yeah, why not?
if you can fit us in your schedule, we'll probably put you down for that. If you can't, I get it. Nazario is growing to be one of my favorite people in this community, especially with that trash talk. That was fantastic. Brooklyn, my co-commissioner, I don't know if Ryan knew where he was, but he's in the second round of the tournament that he actually already got a W. How do you feel like this match went? And who do you think Nazario will face next?
I think this match could have went sour fast, but Ryan kicked into third and just hammered it on into the final question. I really don't know who he's going to take on. Jim could pull his semantics, or Tim could show his full power. But it's once again sort of like this match. It was sort of a toss up. I'm also going to do my plugs while we're doing them. Instagram and Twitter at the real BK10. Never not the word. Take 3 Productions, Jukebox Trivia, and Leo Take 3 on Thursdays, and right here on Nerdgasm on Saturdays with that beautiful bastard, Cody Newberry.
Okay, I don't know why you're doing your plugs right there, but it's fine. Whatever. Caleb, how do you think tonight went? And why don't you do your plug, and then I'll just go to Nazario and Brian after that.
Sure. Well, this was a good fight. Ryan definitely just showed that he's really, really good at that speed round. And he did really well arguing that third point. So I think Ryan has the chops. Just needs to refine it a little bit. Nazario he's shown he's great. Even with the quips, the fucking rabbit comment killed me. The key card rabbit comment killed me. But it was a great match all the way around. And as for who I think he'll play, it's hard for me to say it's not going to be Jim. It's got to be Jim. Jim is the other half of me when it comes to trivia and debate. The two of us are great at it. So, I can't vote against him on this preliminary thing, but I am an unbiased judge in that sense. So, but anyway, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Caleb Coho. That is Caleb with a K, Koho. You can find me on YouTube, Caleb Coho, where I do music, Coho Productions, where I do film. On both channels right now, my movie Chick Part 2 is not free to watch for free. What is not free is my album Shoot for Teens with my group The Forks, which you can find on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you consume your digital music. And you can find me right here on Multiplex Entertainment, where I host Fandom Fight on Fridays, and me and Cody host the co-hosters right here on Thursdays. We are doing a bit of a Saturday stint right now, but we will be watching the Oscars and putting up the co-hosters and all that good stuff. So stay tuned with us right here on Multiplex.
Fantastic. Nazario, where can the good people of the world find you?
Well, mostly around trivia leagues, now debate leagues. I'm in Full Metal, I'm in Multiplex, I'm in Confidential Cinema. I think we almost finished the top 100 if Henry ever decides to release the damn thing. That has become kind of a joke so far. And in the social media, you can look for my name. It's not very common, Nazario Montenegro, or my nickname in Spanish, which is Jarrete320, which I forgot to write down, and I'm not going to do it now. So...
Okay, so a bunch of words I don't understand. Ryan, where can the good people find you?
Yeah, blame it on me because it's late and I'm tired. That's why I messed up some of my post-game speech comments. But anyway, the point is, you can find me on Facebook at Ryan Permison. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Check out our YouTube channel of Nerd Culture on YouTube. Follow it on Twitter and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. And you can find me competing in the various movie cheer leagues in and around the internet. I will see you there. I look forward to my next match. Thanks for having me, fellas. And congratulations, Nazario. Go back to cuddling with your stuffed animals at the age of 40.
38.
He's a real boy. You can go to Multiplex, go to Full Metal Geek, go to Take 3. You can find me. I pretty much pop up all over the place. And you can also find me backing my client, Robert the Hobbit Parker, Tim the Hulk Bracala, soon to be announced, and hopefully it will be released by the time, Kane...
What Cody's saying is that you can go check out his clients later.
And finally, Jake the Maestro Marangoni. Welcome to the fellowship. You're all in trouble.
Out.